So you have an uptrend, and you have a confirmed uptrend. Hey everybody, hope you had a great trading day. We have a lot to go over, so we're going to jump right into it. Focus is going to be what happened today and what to do about it tomorrow in regards to trading. There's some new ideas I want to go over, but the macro picture we really need to discuss about what's going on out there right now. So to start with this, you're starting to see the leaders actually lead. Let's get rid of all these indicators for a second, and let's just talk about this. This is from the newsletter. If you don't get the newsletter, there's a free version below. Simply click the link and you'll be signed up. So we broke out pretty nice flag. What I like about flags like this, when they move and you set up at the top of the range. When you set up at the top of the range, you usually have a higher probability of them going, right? And that's exactly what happened here. Pre and post is on, and that's why you can see the flagpole. So sometimes I'll leave pre and post on because it helps people understand that there really is a flag here. You just don't see it, right? The visual sometimes will help. Now, if you take a look at where you're at, there is a channel here, and we should probably talk about this channel just so everyone kind of gets it. So there is a channel here, and if you flip that channel and power through this, this could go. I really like this move. Usually what happens with one of these really long bars is you kind of go sideways for a little bit. This 166.48 or 166.50 needs to be watched, but this triggered for us in the trading room today, and we did put it on. So I do like it. I do like it a lot, quite frankly. And I would be telling you that if you're interested in doing something like this and investing right now, I would be looking at the large cap names. I know people are trading the Sofis of the world. We went over that one yesterday. You can see how we cloned that line, fits perfectly. I get trading the Sofis. I'm not saying not to do it, but if you're an institution, you're not buying Sofi. You're going out there, you're buying Apple. Okay, the other one that you're looking at buying is you're buying Amazon. Why? They had good earnings. They had solid earnings. Look at the difference between pre and post. This was another one we bought in the trading room today. And you can see how it just broke out perfectly. There's very little to say about it. And again, you may want to consider just doing this, leaving pre and post in sometimes because it gives you, it paints a different picture. Now, this is all good, but we did have some things that just didn't keep up. Tesla, people were like, oh, it did okay. Well, let's just take a look at a couple things here. Let's get rid of this 8 and let's put the 200 day in for a minute, okay? Did it? Okay, well, we closed over the 200 day, but look how much we had to get over in order for that to happen. So now we're getting overbought. Are we overbought to the point where you need to be concerned? No, not on the daily, right? You can see how it got toppy here, but from there, from when that started, it just kept going back in March. And if you look at when it got toppy last time, and started going, you had a 71 reading that went all the way to a 95, right? So you don't really want to miss this kind of stuff just because you're over, right? Watch that RSI video if you haven't already. But what you do want to do is you want to look for pullback. So sometimes maybe drop to like a 4-hour chart, get rid of the pre and the post, and just see where you are in the grand scheme of things. Well, here we are, and then here we are again over on the 4-hour, right? So now we actually have like an 80 on the 4-hour, 77, and we kind of look at what happened last time in March. See, and you want to catch the move before this happens, right? So you start looking at this and going, well, this got to 85. So this can go a little bit higher and then peak, and you kind of go through it again and you can see the peaks here. And that's what I'm saying. You don't want to just move because this is happening, but you want to be aware of it. You want to be cognizant of it. And what you really are looking for is you want to see if it dips below that 70 line. Watch that video. I'll link at the end. But that's really what you want to focus on here. Now, after hours, you had Lucid come out with earnings. I don't know why anyone's really surprised that they were not ideal. I like the cars. The people that own the cars that I know that have purchased a car, they love the car. I just think that the amount of capital it's going to take is going to be extremely hard for people. I think it's going to be very hard for people to do this. And I think that that's something that we really need to consider. It takes billions of dollars to do this, right? So, and I don't want to go off on too many tangents. I have so much to go over. Subscribe to the channel, click all notifications, because what we go over here is extremely timely and it's very real. And I appreciate your support of the channel as I try to grow it and help people to avoid the mistakes I made over 20 years. So something like Rivian, you see how that's kind of coming down on the news, right? So why would that come down on this on that kind of news with before earnings? Because they're talking about the cost overlay. Right? So that's why you would move. So, I mean, Lucid's got a nice partner with Saudi Arabia. Do I think they're going out of business? No, because I think they've got huge backers. But they just might be one of these companies that just goes sideways and pays a nice dividend down the line. They do make a great car. Car and Driver rated it, I think, higher than any Tesla. So I think from that standpoint, you're fine. But a good product doesn't always mean that the valuation of a stock is there. Price pays, everything else is conversation. So I would watch that. I am surprised at this run. That's not, it's going to sound kind of cheesy. It's kind of like a dad joke that it's not running more because they really beat earnings expectation. They crushed. I would use this 15-minute, as one of the ladies refers to it in the trading room, the 15-minute thingy. And I would watch these levels very, very closely. See how you act going into the conference call tonight, because that could continue to move. Now, I was asked in one of the comments to cover this again, and I would suggest that if you have something you want me to cover, or you have a comment or a question, please put it in the comments, because I read every single one and I answer every single one. It just takes me some time since it's a one-man shop, and that's how we're going to keep it. So you can see how you're breaking out here, right? We were looking at this one when I did the live trading video today, and I pointed out where you could do it if you wanted to, right? I mean, it's pretty clear how you got to this. Here, let me show you this level. Pretty clear how you got to that level, came back down, open, retested, back over the open and went. You could have done it. We pointed it out. I didn't do this trade. I didn't like the positioning of the NASDAQ when these trades fired today. So for me, the way that I trade, it's always index, sector, stock, right? That's how I trade, index, sector, stock. So if I don't like the positioning, I won't put the trade on. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is this was a great quarter, okay? And it doesn't matter how I feel about the company or the position of the company. One of the things I was explaining to people yesterday is just roll your charts back to January 1st and go on the assumption of could it get back up to here by January 1st? Well, we're basing, if you take a look at it from that perspective, right? If you shorten your time frame perspective, you're basing. Look at your volume, okay? You were only here once more back here, all right? This beat earnings expectations and they raised guidance. This was just some kind of nonsense. This is actually a real quarter where what they did here in the cost cutting actually paid off. So you have to give them credit for that, right? And so for me, looking at this, I don't think this trade's over. I think if you make a higher high tomorrow, you have a double-digit stock. So I might look at this for a second tier play, right? And do this tomorrow, just like today, one of the trades we did in the trading room. I didn't do this off the open. I'm going to walk through the indexes and show you why I didn't do these trades off the open. But a lot of people did these trades off the open. I really wasn't interested in that. I was interested in these kinds of moves. Now, this is a 3-bar pattern, right, that you'll recognize if you watch that bullish hook video, right? This is actually a bullish homing pigeon because it got over on its first bar. But I'll link that video at the end. It's 3 candlestick patterns. Just put it on double speed, but learn them. They're everywhere. And you can just see right here, 1, 2, 3, here's your hook. So my point here was like, you know what? There's a pretty good scalp trade here if you want to put it on. And then we just simply put the trade on. And then you could do whatever you want with it. You could have stayed in it, but the goal was to scalp it and just use this as a low. It gave us 2 opportunities actually, but I didn't do the rip, and I'll explain now why I didn't. So here we are in the Qs, and what we're going to do is get rid of all these indicators for right now. And we're just going to talk about these levels. So off the open, you kept bumping these levels. Now, if you break this down from 15, and we're just going to break it down into 1, and we're just going to drill into this. So if you look at these levels that are, second, let me let this load in. Okay. And you look at what's going on here, you can see all my levels, right? So we know that this is the level that you have to watch because we just had that level up at that 318 level. And you can see how we just kept fighting it, hitting it, breaking down, getting over it, breaking down. I just didn't like the action. So if I don't like the action, and when you're trying to get through some of these levels and it's not working, I'll just stay out of the way. And early on, let me really drill into this so you can see it. There we go. See all these wicks? Wicks are what? Price rejection. Bonk, bonk, bonk. I'm like, this is what they're going to do. They're going to set us up and then they're going to pull the flim flam. Well, we had some other levels marked off and we held. So we were able to benefit from some of the other longs that we had in. But something like this, you just kind of have to watch. So for me, I don't think there was much to do here. I think you have to be really careful here. I will say this. I do want to just kind of explain what's going on with the indexes. I think it's really important. So here you are on the NASDAQ, right? And here's your daily. And essentially you have this little range right here. We cloned these earlier and you can see how they sat perfectly. And we flipped out of the channel. What you flipped out of the channel, that's no longer debatable. You have made a higher high. That is and a higher high close. That is no longer debatable. So you have an uptrend and you have a confirmed uptrend. That's not a discussion. That's not a subjective statement. That's an objective statement. The question is, okay, that's great. Now what? Well, now you have to watch this 330 level and see if we can get over that. Remember before 1, 2, 3 failed. The difference this time is that we never had higher lows. So do I think we're going straight up? No, I don't. And I'm going to show you this. And I would watch this really closely because RSI is a leading indicator. And we're going to leave these in and this in for March, just so you can see that you are above anchored VWAP for the first time in a long time. But I just want to point this out. You are over, okay? You're at about like a 78. So you can absolutely come down to like the lower channel and still be in an uptrend, right? So you could absolutely come down to here and still have an uptrend, and that's 302. So you could have a 3% drop in this, and the uptrend's not ruined. So keep that in mind, right? We want to buy down here. You can trade up here, but you know, this is kind of where you want to buy the car, and this is where you kind of want to sign a 2-year lease, right? You know you can beat the car up a little bit, and you want to get out of the car. Think of it from that kind of perspective, and I think it'll be really helpful. So that's it, but really focus on this. And I do want to just point out a couple key things. You know, I'm going to go over a little bit, but on this VIX, you're dropping again. Okay, so the spike is over, right? So you remember this. You remember this trade that we've been talking about, this VIX, and how it's been right here, and how this has marked the top of every index. But look at what we're doing. We're reversing. We're breaking down. So if you take this low of this VIX out, 2130, you're going to see massive buying in equities across the market. And that might be the blow off that we see that then kind of marks the top, and then we kind of work our way down. So I hope that's helpful. Everybody have a great evening and trade to win tomorrow.